I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm excited to be sharing some information that's going to make your sound quality on clarinet so much better, so much easier, help you have a much deeper understanding of how the sound actually works on the instrument, how to have control over the instrument, and make everything easier to play. That's the beauty of when you're finding your very best sound, is it's not just sounding better, but all of the notes come out easier too. And that's my goal, is to make your clarinet playing easier so you can enjoy it more, so you can do more of it and get all of those great benefits of doing music and having a great, wonderful, and enjoyable hobby. So to give you a little idea of what we're doing here in this video, I pulled out some highlights from the sound quality workshop that I did about a week ago, a little over a week ago now, and maybe a lot more than that depending on when you're seeing this video. But the sound quality workshop itself went so well and people got such great results out of it that I really wanted to make the replay accessible to everybody and to sort of show you what's in the replay, what the workshop was all about. I pulled out a few highlights for you. But first, before we get into the highlights, I want to share a little review that Suzanne sent to me. It was so sweet. She sent an email the day after the workshop and said how wonderful and helpful it was. And she said that she wouldn't list all of the great changes that it made for her playing, but of course, I insisted that I wanted to hear all of that good stuff. So this was sort of her full review that she put together. There have already been many super positive changes that the sound workshop made to my clarinet playing and sound creation. I'm amazed at the details with illustration you shared of the tongue, lips, teeth, chin position, and how that really affects the airflow, sound, clarity, individual note fullness, intonation, and articulation. Another thing you showed that made a huge difference in sound quality for me was how far the mouthpiece goes into the mouth, as well as the angle of the clarinet. In addition to the physical technicalities of quality sound creation, I especially appreciated the mental mindset you shared behind practicing, motivation, setting skill goals, and being realistic with where I currently am skill-wise and what steps to take to keep moving joyfully forward. I finally have a good clarinet recording set up, and the difference in sound using what I learned in your workshop is already like night and day. What a super workshop. You're an awesome teacher. Thank you for putting together your years of experience and sharing it in such a clear way. Thanks so much, Suzanne. It's so wonderful hearing from people like you that this has been a helpful workshop for them and they've gotten a lot out of it. And I hope if you're watching this video and you don't have access to the replays, or even if you already have access to the replay but you haven't dove into it yet, I hope that this motivates you and inspires you to get some of those awesome results like Suzanne is getting for herself. So without further ado, let's get into some of those highlights so you can see what the sound quality workshop was all about. This first one is talking about sort of developing your sound concept and how to be getting your best sound and the mindset behind getting your best sound. The last very important thing for this how is to believe in yourself. Like I sort of alluded to, I think oftentimes we are a little too self-deprecating. We think that the pros are just light years ahead of us, and in some cases, the pros just have practiced more years, more time, studied with more people, just have more experience playing. And that's totally fine. But on just one note or one simple long tone exercise, I think you could probably get pretty close to matching their sound quality. And you have to find that fine line of where your expectations are, of if you are too high with your expectations, then it can be really frustrating. Like, why don't I sound like Martin Frost yet? That can get frustrating. But also on the other hand, if you're thinking, well, I'm never going to sound like Martin Frost, then the natural conclusion to that is, then why even try at all? So you have to find that line of, I know I can sound this good, I believe it, I can hear it, I'm going to get into those feedback loops, find those objective things, and the next thing you know, you're sounding that good. And then from there, you can raise the expectations a little bit more and work your way up. And that's pretty much how the process of growth works for anything. And it's not always so linear of, okay, now I want to sound like that. I did it. Now I want to sound like that. I did it. Sometimes it's, I want to sound like that. It's not working. trying, I'm working at it. And then the epiphany moment will happen. The light bulb goes off and you're like, okay, I got it. Now I want to sound like this. Oh, today's a worse read. I don't sound as good as I wanted to before. And it's just a constant thing of working. But as long as you have that clarity of what you want, where you're going, the honesty of where you are, then you're going to get there. This next highlight is one of the ones that I'm the most excited about, and lots of the people gave feedback that this was their favorite part of it too. And this is getting into a lot of the physics research that I did for the mechanics and the acoustics of how the instrument actually works. This is showing how, you know, sometimes when you go to play a certain note and it just doesn't come out, this happens all the time with like crossing the break. The answer has everything to do with air support. And in this next highlight clip, I'm going in more detail about where that support should be and finding that oh so important sweet spot to getting your best sound. So let's say that point of air support we were at was maybe here. We were blowing this much air support and we were getting this much reed vibration going. And that was enough energy in the reed vibrating to get the high D to come out. However, the Clarinet C requires this much air support. So because there was a gap here, because we were only supporting up to this point, we didn't have enough support to get here. So if we were playing that high D and then coming down to the high C, and we had this gap where we were only supporting up to here, so the high C wasn't coming out, what we need to do instead is just support more air support so that we're supporting up to this high C, and then it comes out no problem. So try that. Play the D, but instead of playing with as little support as you can to get the D to come out, play with as much support as you think you need to get the C out, maybe plus a little bit more. And then you're able to get that smooth transition. Isn't that so interesting? And it really does come down to just finding the right support, getting in the right zone, and all of the notes on the instrument can come out easily. I found in my own playing that if I just set up things right and support properly, all the notes come out, no problem. Can play the Beethoven 8 excerpt with the piano leaps up to the high G, comes out consistently and confidently. And it's a great revelation for my playing, and so many people who were at the workshop and have watched the replay so far have told me that it's been very helpful for them as well. In this next clip, though, there's a little bit of caveats. It's not just, okay, blow with a lot of air support and you're good. There's a few other variables involved that define where the right amount of air support is. So let me roll that highlight clip so you can get an idea of some of the other things to be thinking about as well. So to find that sweet spot that we were talking about, there's all of these variables that you can see now. We're trying to get that ideal reed vibration by finding that ideal amount of air support, but it's not just the air support. The air support is the variable that's going to find that sweet spot for us, but where that sweet spot is depends on how much reed is in your mouth, how firmly you're pressing on the reed, how good of support you have in the voicing and the direction of the air, getting that Bernoulli stuff. The tongue position plays a big role in that, and the soft palate. So all of this is sort of getting the air and the air support, but also the embouchure is going to move it around, and the reed itself is going to move it around. So you have to make sure that you're finding that sweet spot. And I think every single one of these variables kind of has their bullseye that we're going for, where just the right amount of air pressure makes it work really well with the air support. Having enough reed makes it easier to not put too much pressure and find that sweet spot. So it's all kind of this matrix of little bullseyes that we're always aiming for to get everything situated and to find that ultimate sweet spot. And the one thing that I'll add to that, the one most magic variable is in the air support. I find if you're supporting with that good arpeggio breathing and aiming the air well, then it can sort of override embouchure issues a little bit. Not completely, it won't make them completely go away, but it helps at least. So that's the way to start thinking in these variables. And in the afternoon, I'm going to give you a bunch of exercises to find where those should be. All right, I hope that these highlights have given you an idea of what the sound quality workshop is all about. This was a very small portion of it. This was maybe about 6 minutes of highlights for about 6 hours of video content and teaching and presentations and learning and experimenting. And like I mentioned in that last highlight, in the afternoon, we did some more interactive stuff where I gave you exercises so you can explore and find each of those variables and the sweet spot for each of them to get you to that ultimate goal of maximizing the energy in the read and the support there so the notes sound great and come out easily. So if you're interested in getting all of that, if this sort of whetted your appetite and you want more of it, go to quickstartclarinet.com/sound, get the replay to it. It's the price of like a 30 or 45 minute lesson. It's super duper affordable for 5 or 6 hours of content and learning and going deep on all things sound. And it's going to get you incredible results. So go to quickstartclarinet.com/sound, check it out. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, or email me at quickstartclarinet@gmail.com if you want to know more about it or need any more information. Also, when you go to quickstartclarinet.com/sound, on that page, there's links to the slides. So again, you can get a little bit more behind the scenes, a better, clearer idea of everything that was covered in the presentation. And then, of course, get the actual replay so you can see me explaining it and have a clear understanding of how to go about all of these things in the right way. So I wish you the very best of finding your very best sound quality. Thanks so much for checking out these highlights. I hope maybe even here you got a few nuggets of interesting things. Go to quickstartclarinet.com/sound and get the full replay. I promise you won't regret it.